Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. In another experiment, here is an excerpt from an essay that I think may be the one we most need to adhere to, or at least consider in these times of too often irrational extremism, both from the left and the right. This is from an essay called The Pursuit of the Ideal by a really thoughtful scholar, a moderate, which I'm inclined to be, named Isaiah Berlin. And I'll start with this. It should take me, I'm guessing, about 5 minutes. I like to think it's going to be worth your time. We'll find out. Anyway, what is clear is that values can clash. That's why civilizations are incompatible. They can be incompatible between cultures, or between groups in the same culture, or between you and me. You believe in always telling the truth, no matter what. I do not, because I believe that it can sometimes be too painful or too destructive. We can discuss each other's point of view. We can try to reach common ground. But in the end, what you pursue may not be reconcilable with the ends to which I find that I've dedicated my life. Values may easily clash within the breast of a single individual, and it does not follow that if they do, some must be true and others false. Justice, rigorous justice, is for some people an absolute value, but it is not compatible with what may be no less ultimate values for them: mercy, compassion, as arises in concrete cases. Both liberty and equality are among the primary goals pursued by human beings through many centuries. But total liberty for wolves is death to the lambs. Total liberty of the powerful, the gifted, is not compatible with the rights to a decent existence of the weak and less gifted. An artist, in order to create a masterpiece, may live a life which plunges his family into misery and squalor, to which he is indifferent. We may condemn him and declare that the masterpiece should be sacrificed to human needs, or we may take his side. But both attitudes embody values for which some men or women are ultimate, and which are intelligible to us all if we have any sympathy or imagination or understanding of human beings. Equality may demand the restraint of the liberty of those who wish to dominate. Liberty, without some modicum of which there is no choice and therefore no possibility of remaining human as we understand the word, may have to be curtailed in order to make room for social welfare, to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to shelter the homeless, to leave room for the liberty of others, to allow justice or fairness to be exercised. Should children be tortured to extract information about dangerous traitors or criminals? Happy are those who live under a discipline in which they accept without question, who freely obey the orders of leaders, spiritual or temporal, whose word is fully accepted as unbreakable law, or those who have, by their own methods, arrived at clear and unshakable convictions about what to do and what to be that brook no possible doubt. I can only say that those who rest on such comfortable beds of dogma are victims of forms of self-induced myopia, blinkers that may make for contentment, but not for understanding of what it is to be human. I conclude that the very notion of a final solution to, and he's talking about issues, not the Nazis, is not only impracticable, but if I am right, and some values cannot but clash, incoherent also. The possibility of a final solution, even if we forget the terrible sense that those words acquired in Hitler's day, turns out to be an illusion, a very dangerous one. For it really believes that such a solution is possible, that surely no cost would be so high to obtain it, to make mankind just and happy and creative and harmonious forever. What could be too high a price to pay for that? To make such an omelet, there is surely no limit to the number of eggs that should be broken. That was the faith of Lenin, of Trotsky, of Mao, and for all I know of Pol Pot. Since I know the only true path to the ultimate solution of the problem of society, I know which way to drive the human caravan. And since you are ignorant of what I know, you cannot be allowed to have liberty of choice, even within that narrowest of limits. If the goal is to be reached, you declare that a given policy will make you happier or freer, or give you room to breathe. But I know that you are mistaken. I know what you need, what all men need. And if there is resistance based on ignorance or malevolence, then it shall be broken, and hundreds of thousands may have to perish to make millions happy for all time. What choice have we, who have the knowledge, but to be willing to sacrifice them all? Some armed prophets seek to save mankind, and some only their own race because of its superior attributes. But whatever the motive, the millions slaughtered in wars or revolutions, gas chambers, gulag, genocide, all the monstrosities for which our century will be remembered, are the price men must pay for the felicity of future generations. If your desire to save mankind is serious, you must harden your heart and not reckon the cost. So that argument goes. The one thing we may be sure is that the reality of the sacrifice is the reality of the sacrifice, the dying and the dead. But the ideal, for the sake of which they die, remains unrealized. The eggs are broken, and the habit of breaking them grows, but the omelet remains invisible. Sacrifices for short-term goals, coercion, if men's plight is desperate enough and truly requires such measures, may be justified, but holocausts for the sake of distant goals, that is a cruel mockery of all that people hold dear now and at all times. What and how much sacrifice must we make to what? There is, it seems to me, no clear reply, but the collisions, even if they cannot be avoided, can be softened. Claims can be balanced. Compromises can be reached. In concrete situations, not every claim is of equal force. So much liberty and so much equality. So much for sharp moral condemnation and so much for understanding a given human situation. So much for the full force of law and so much for the prerogative of mercy, for feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, healing the sick, sheltering the homeless. Priorities, never final and absolute, must be established. Of course, social and political collisions will take place. The mere conflict of positive values alone makes this unavoidable. Yet they can, I believe, be minimized by promoting and preserving an uneasy equilibrium, which is constantly threatened and is in constant need of repair. That alone, I repeat, is the precondition for decent societies and morally acceptable behavior. Otherwise, we are bound to lose our way. A little dull as a solution, you'll say? Not the stuff of which calls to heroic action by inspired leaders are made? Yet if there is some truth in this view, perhaps that is sufficient. An eminent American philosopher of our day once said, "There is no a priori reason for supposing that the truth, when it is discovered, will necessarily prove interesting. It may be enough if it is truth, or even an approximation of it. Consequently, I do not feel apologetic for advancing this truth." Said Tolstoy, "Truth has been and will be beautiful." I do not know if this is so in the realm of ethics, but it seems to me near enough to what most of us wish to believe, so not to be too lightly set aside. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up, accept your thumbs down, and I especially look forward to your comments, especially on this one, because it's this is a new experiment, and I always especially like it if you hit the share button below, share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel, which normally consists of mainly how-to advice, occasionally interspersed with me playing the piano. And I think, unless I get too much comments that this is boring and useless, reading excerpts of essays like this that I think would benefit us all. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.